Hi everyone, this is Juan, and we are here. We're busy for our last workshop of the week. Today we are having flow.com blockchain for our workshop. But just to start and to have some icebreaker with this conversation, beforehand I was talking with VC about being an anon and to preserve your privacy and your anonymity online. And BC is not going to turn on his camera. But yeah, I'm curious about why you do that and what does it mean for you to be anon in the space. Why do you prefer to do?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. I mean, it's a good question. In general, I just want to clarify that I'm normally not like fully anon. I just go by the synonym like BC in in the space and industry. I normally go to like different like attend in real life events, like participate in hackathons, like mentoring developers and do workshops. So people still like see my face. In real life. But in general, I'm very like camera shy when it comes to being online. I've always been very private with that stuff, and I think I've always like had in the back of my mind for like we're talking about decades now that eventually there would be like deep fakes AI that will just like do crazy videos of everyone's faces. I think I haven't been really comfortable with that, and also just I really just like the optionality, right? Like it's a something that you can't like if it's out on the internet, it's very difficult to like turn off at all. In general, I just like having a lot of options and just keeping one's privacy is like one of it. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. Actually, to make me think, and on an age that we have like these technologies that can clone ourselves with our image, with some footage of our face and we talking, they can create a clone and impersonate us. I haven't think in that way before. Thank you. And also for the people on the other side of the screen, this is one of the values and principles that we follow and that we yeah live by, like the right to be anonymous and to preserve your privacy. So, well, without further ado, I will start. I will put your screen on stage, and we will begin the presentation. I will be backstage, taking care of any questions. Thank you, Maicon, for connecting and say hello. If you guys remember you have any questions, you can use the uh, chat on YouTube or X, and the stage is yours.
Awesome. Again, thanks for having me. I'm BC Devrel at the Flow Foundation. So if you're ready to be hacking like this week and also next week, and want something like fast, easy, powerful, you're in the right place. So in this workshop, we'll show you how to build a project on Flow from scratch. So whether you're an experienced Solidity dev or totally new to Web3, this workshop is for you. So let's start with like the obvious question, which is like, why should you even care about Flow? You got a ton of chains to pick from. So what make this one like worth your time? Let me show you that. Um, to really understand it, we have to sort of take a step back and look at the past. We see that there are very few on-chain apps in the market, but at one point, we also see this massive spike. And if you try and like think about what actually happened here, you might actually already know. But I'll just give you the answer here, and it's CryptoKitties. So if you heard about this project before, it was actually the first viral blockchain game, and it was so viral that it ended up breaking Ethereum back in 2017. It literally shut the network, like the whole network down. And like Ethereum was at the time meant to be like the future of finance. It's going to change like all industries, and a silly cat game was enough to break it. Our team built like CryptoKitties, and we knew something had to change because it didn't really make sense for a user to spend $5 on a kitty, but they would have to pay like $50 in gas. It also didn't make sense for a user to know what a Web3 wallet is, like having to write down seed phrases, going to an exchange, buying ETH and transferring ETH, and then approving transactions. That's like not a like most users actually don't know what that is on the internet. And it also didn't make sense for like developers like you guys who would need to like pay very expensive smart contract audits, and at the end of the day still end up shipping code that would end up have bugs, because that's actually what happened to CryptoKitties. We ended up paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars on like two different auditors, and the code still shipped with bugs. And then we had like major brands like NBA who wanted to work with the CryptoKitties team. So we knew we couldn't just like bet the whole company on this nascent technology, and we needed a network that could actually scale to the billions. So that's why we built Flow. Flow is a layer one blockchain. It's built from the ground up to fix all the issues that we faced when building CryptoKitties. It was built for real apps solving problems for real users. So not just like pure speculation, and it's not just like another EVM clone or roll up. It is actually built from the like ground up in order to scale in terms of like speed and UX. So from the UX side, you actually get like native account abstraction, and you can create gasless experiences. This is like a huge unlock, right? Because like imagine users interacting with your app and they don't even realize that it's on the blockchain. That's what like projects like NBA Top Shots, which are built on Flow, have been very like known for, and onboarded like millions of people to the blockchain due to like great UX and of course distribution from the brand. And then we also have soft finality. It's less than 4 seconds, and our block times are 800 milliseconds. So that makes Flow one of the like fastest L1 EVM chains in the world. If you're a Solidity dev, Flow EVM will just work for you. You can use all your favorite EVM tools: MetaMask, Remix, Hardhat, Foundry, etc. They'll just work out of the box. And if you want advanced smart contract logic, we have built our own like a smart contract language called Cadence, and that gives you like next level security with resource oriented programming. And the best part is that we also have a cross VM environment, so you can actually combine all the features you get from the resource oriented programming language Cadence to EVM. And that's why it gets really interesting, because you can have like existing Solidity code that just like can do much more in a single atomic transaction. Um, and yeah, you can use like just fully audited like stress test Solidity code. And then like the powerful features from Cadence could be things like secure on-chain randomness, pre and post condition. So like everything just runs as it should be, and have nested resources, things that you normally which is normally impossible in Solidity, you can get from the other smart contract language. It's trusted by the best, so you don't really have to take my word for it. NBA Top Shot is being built on Flow. There's NFL All Day, Mattel, Disney, and Ticketmaster. So all these global brands trust the network enough to build on it, and that also means that if you build on Flow, you can compose on top of the things they have done, whether it's their NFTs or whether it's like tokens. You get access to that much more easily. The network is also MEV resistant, so that means that like your users are basically protected by default, right? When they want to swap a token, they won't lose like 30% of the like their value. And yeah, so the question is also like how does Flow achieve all this? Well, to answer this, we kind of have to look at the blockchain trilemma. The blockchain trilemma is like a popular phenomenon that Vitalik Buterin has um, like shared before, where it basically says that in general, blockchains can only choose two things. They can try and be scalable and decentralized, but they usually take some trade-off. Like then they won't be as secure, for instance. In Bitcoin's and Ethereum's case, which is traditional chains, they are decentralized and secure, but they don't really scale well. We see that with the gas, like energy efficient, how energy efficient they are. So our team, we looked at this problem and we thought, okay, most blockchains run on nodes that basically handle everything. They do all the same things, and then you end up like having these like trade-offs. So we thought, okay, what if we created some kind of multi-node architecture that like allows each node to do different things. Like we would have like dedicated nodes like as data availability, that's our access nodes. We would have sequencing, that's our collection nodes, and we would have execution, which is our execution nodes, obviously, and then the settlement would be like verification and consensus. So by like separating the jobs, we could basically scale flow horizontally. And then we have the like cadence. Here's a slide like that shows like the things that I already mentioned. Like it's safer by design because it's like resource oriented. So all your digital assets can't be easily copied or lost accidentally. We're talking about NFTs and tokens, right? And then there was the Gas6 UX, and that's because we have like separate payer and authorizers natively when you do transactions. It also makes it easier to do multi-sig wallets. Our contracts are upgradable, so it's very common that like you push something new out and it has a bunch of bugs, so you can upgrade it. And when you feel comfortable, you can actually revoke your like keys to the contracts, and you can no longer upgrade it, of course, so it's frozen. And we also have something called account linking, which gives delegated access to assets. That means that you might have a great experience on your app, but you want to make sure that if the app shuts down and maybe you only had access to your assets through an email, but no seed phrase, well, then you can still access it from a master wallet. So those are some of the features you can get from Cadence. Here in the slides, which we will share through via email, you'll get like the resources on how you can get started building on Cadence. Like there's different docs there. There's also like a project example of how you could do like multiple things, like having custodial wallet providers doing user authentication, so people can just log in with an email or a social login, and they'll have a wallet. And then, secure on-chain randomness, so you don't need backends. You can trustlessly prove that whatever your app does that is random is fully transparent, and no one is like tampering with it. And many more things. For Flow EVM, it's again fully EVM equivalent, so you can deploy existing Solidity contracts with no code changes. It's also low in gas fees and has fast finality. Due to the multi-role architecture that Flow has, it's also MEV resilient. It's just as you're used to if you're a Solidity dev. We have the RPC endpoints. This is for mainnet. The other side is for testnet. And there's the link where you can find it. But in general, you can find everything you need on developers.flow.com in terms of resources. To do a quick demo of how Flow EVM works, if you are a total beginner, we'll show you how to interact with a smart contract from your front end. So first of all, you'll set up your MetaMask, and you just Google that. It's like an extension. And then you'll need to go to the Flow token faucet to fund your wallet. And now we have done that. We will want to add the testnet network. And now we have some money on the MetaMask. And then you can go to like Remix IDE to deploy your smart contract. Here we're deploying a simple on-chain random contract like this. And it just compiles. you add your MetaMask, and now you have deployed your smart contract. So now when it's deployed, we can actually fetch some random numbers. We can go for a range from 1 to 10, call the function, the randomness function, and there you go. In this example, we see that we get like the number 7. So it's like that fast, that easy to deploy a randomness contract for your app. And now we'll want to set up the front end. Here's an example of how we actually just vibe code it. Like you can use whatever AI tool you like. I recommend using Cursor. In our developer docs, there's different ways where we show you how you can make your AI tool much stronger with coding, like on-chain apps. And here we like just prompted, okay, we have a Solidity contract that's deployed on Flow EVM testnet. We want it to create a front end where we can press a button that chooses a random number. So now we just let it think. We didn't prompt it with a lot of stuff, so we kind of have to do some debugging. Of course, we could have prompted it with more stuff that it needed, like the contract address. So here I'm actually just debugging, like where, like, did it use the right contract address, and where do you find that? So here I'm just searching. Again, the slides will be available for you, so you can rewatch this video on your like own pace if you want. And here we see that, yeah, I found like the contract address where it's supposed to be, and I'm just going to replace it by going to the deployment I just did and find a contract address like this and replace. Another thing that's very common when debugging is the chain ID. You have to make sure that the endpoint that the AI has added is correct. And where you find the endpoints, I just showed it in one of the slides, but you can also just find it here on developers.flow.com. And I'll just change the chain ID to the correct one, like this. And there we go. So now we have a working front end where it can generate random numbers fully on chain. So that's like a simple way you can do it. And as you saw, it took like basically, of course, it was sped up a bit, but it basically just took like around 5-10 minutes, and you have a fully on-chain app. So some of the tips for you guys when you're doing your hackathon projects is that these are judging criteria. We judge your submissions based on 6 different criteria. So one of them is like the technology part. There we look at like just how well is the actual code, like the implementation. Another thing is completion. It's like, okay, do you have a demo? Let me see. Yeah. And the protocol usage is just like how much do you use the flow network? Do you use like on-chain randomness? Do you use some new features that we have with our latest network upgrade called DeFi actions? With UI UX, it's just like, is this demo easy to like operate, or is it like very chaotic? Adoption, practicality, that's based on your idea. Like how likely is that this has like real value and for people? And remember, like CryptoKitties was a silly game, but it's just that you could do something fun on the blockchain. Originality, then it's like, it's just like a completely plagiarized project. Like what is the new things that you have added? But actually, you also have to think that for the Forte, like there's 2 hackathons you can participate in. This week there's the Forte hacks. Next week it's the flow bounties at ETH Latam. But for both cases, you can actually use your existing project. It can be an existing or previous hackathon project, and you just need to come with some valuable like new features to that project. So you don't have to work fully from scratch. And even after you have done your hackathon project, we still want to keep in touch with you. We have developer grants if you want to continue building. We also have full technical support and mentorship support. We also do a lot of VC intros for projects that are ready. But we definitely recommend you to just apply for our grant now. where there's a pool of like flow tokens that gets basically distributed to projects who want to continue building. So definitely recommend going through that process after you have finished your hackathon project. And basically by participating in the Forte hacks, you have much better chances to receive a grant. So if you go to some of the tracks for this week, the link is right here. Again, we'll share it with you. We have these tracks. The first one is the best killer app on Flow, which anyone can be eligible for. You see the prices here. We're giving out 16K, for the best killer app. The question is then, what is a killer app? Well, a killer app, by our definition, is anything that could onboard millions of users or create billions of dollars in market cap value or TVL. So that can literally be anything. If you think about consumer-oriented killer apps, well, they usually just have the power to define or lead entire industries by like solving like real user pain points at scale. The best example that we have today, right, is like ChatGPT, which made AI accessible to hundreds of millions. And Flow is designed for mass adoption and consumer-grade experiences. So we're looking to help the next breakthrough application that can capture like millions of users. And it's a very broad bounty. So whether you're interested in gaming, AI agents, real-world assets, or social apps, it's all up to you. Then we have another thing, which is like called Flow 40 actions and workflows. This is something that's entirely new. We have something called the Flow actions or DeFi actions, which is a set of standard interfaces, and they basically allow you to do automated workflows on chain. So think about cron jobs, fully on chain. You don't need a backend. You can create endless loops. Like you can schedule your transactions on chain. So that gives a lot of like new possibilities where you don't have to rely on any centralized entity or like third party entity at all. You can create like dollar cost averaging or fully on chain. You can create subscription on chain for payments. Basically, there's like an endless amount of possibilities, right? And these are like reusable on chain building blocks that you can use. And you can call them without importing APIs or reading contract code. So that's also a track that you can use, and all you have to do is like follow some of the resources, and you're pretty much good to go. Then again, there's a track for your existing projects. So if you've done anything in the past, you're more than welcome to continue that project in this week's hackathon and also the next week for the Flow Bounty track. And yeah, it's just like as long as you have created some meaningful contribution to your existing project, it's pretty much good to go. And you can also apply for multiple tracks if you want to. If you're not super technical and it's maybe your first hackathon, this is still something for you. You can there's a best vibe coded project track, so you can just vibe code your way, like get AI to build the whole app. We only require you to basically submit a feedback form by the end of the hackathon, and then you're basically eligible. So anyone who uses AI is basically eligible for this track as well. If you like to do like if you're a metrics person, like I know about doing analytics, you can create a dashboard there where you basically create you basically like if you participate in this track, you guarantee to win because it's a pool prize. So there's 10,000 that'll be shared to anyone who builds a Dune dashboard, and it just has to be something where you read data, like do some SQL query, and basically show some metrics from existing projects on chain. So it's a very simple thing. And yeah, it just gives you all the criteria right here. Then besides that, we have hundreds of thousands, more than $100,000 of perks. We're working with like a lot of partners, like with Disney, QuickNote, MoonPay, so on, where they want to give you like more credits if you want to continue building, and also like yeah, we have all the grants, and there's like different challenges that you can do as well. We have Kitty Punch, which is like the major like decentralized exchange swap on Flow, and we have like Fine Labs, which is about like getting on-chain data using their APIs. We have AI Sports, which is like the best integration of their token and like fantasy sport experiences. And then there's like Dapper Labs, which is like the company that created CryptoKitties and NBA Top Shot, and also has Disney Pinnacles. So if you create any data insights or tools there, you will be eligible for their bounty. Um, and more Top Shot, of course, and more Top Shot. And then we have MFL, which is like an on-chain football fantasy game, and they also have like some bounties for you. So there's a lot of basically different tracks that you can go for, and yeah, there's no limit to the tracks that you might want to do. Um, One more thing that I want to show is the submission criteria. The deadline for submitting your project is like 1 day and 8 hours from now, but you still have time. And again, you may reuse your like past project, and you can also use that project to participate next week at ETH Latam hackathon. In terms of submission criteria for Forte hacks, the submission must be deployed on either testnet or mainnet. You should include a README that actually states that it's built on Flow, and specify ideally a testnet or mainnet contract, or at least like the contracts that you have used on testnet or mainnet. Again, both new and existing code can be submitted. We recommend submitting a video demo as well, and of course, like share the link to your GitHub repository, and then also just like post on Twitter, like tag the Flow account, which is at Flow underscore blockchain, and yeah, we so we can actually like see your project online. And your submission, of course, should be public so we can judge it. And yeah, you can decide whether you want to do purely Solidity or want to use Cadence or do both. That's all up to you. We also, of course, show the judging criteria right here. So that's all I had for you guys. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the best in terms of hacking.
Thank you, Busy. Just like the last minutes, or like all the data, we are going to send you to the students and to our hackers. But a question that I have been asking before is, what are the things that you would like to see of people building? Obviously, we let them to be free and creative, but you like working there, you can like give us some general advice on the challenges that the Flow ecosystem is seeing, or things that you yeah, suggest and think could be good ideas to be developing and to be working for the hackathon.
Yeah, totally. I would say like first of all, you should always like go for what you feel you're good at, like or um like I tend to be very bullish if you like just do what you're passionate about, which sounds kind of cliche, um or like cheeky, but yeah, that's one thing, because you're much more likely to stick with it when you go to like production, go to mainnet. um, but in terms of like needs, we do see that a big thing that we are betting on is also just like consumer DeFi. So, what does that actually mean? Well, consumer DeFi is something where you no longer have to um, like understand all these things, right? Like the wallets, the seed phrases, the tokens. It should just be like simple, like getting access to global liquidity, getting access to all the benefits of being on chain. There's a bunch of yield opportunities, right? Where you can get like 20% like real like interest on your deposits. that you can't get on a normal bank account, right? But for most users, they like most normal day, everyday people, they don't have access to that. They would, in order for them to get access to it, they would have to go through a centralized exchange. They would have to learn about like wallet addresses and seed phrases and like going to many different protocols. So creating experiences where you can sort of simplify that. All the complexity is abstracted away from the users. That's something that we're very bullish on, and that's something that also the reason why we have recently done the Forte network upgrade, where you can now make like fully autonomous like DeFi workflows. So so consumer DeFi is like one thing, and it can look like so many different ways. But whatever like brings value to people, just give them access to the benefits of like DeFi, and make sure that yeah, it's the user experience is just like on par at least with what we see in normal Web 2. Um, that's a recommendation. But again, go for what you're passionate about. That's usually what has been like working really well, I would say. Yeah.
Amazing. Another thing that I really like about your presentation is like the transparency regarding the criteria that you guys are yeah, looking for, and definitely we will share the slides for them, for the hackers to have that in mind. In your experience, what is like the most important thing? What are some things that people sometimes oversee or forget when submitting a project that might not be obvious, but that you, with your experience like judging and I guess hacking, have acquired during the years?
Yeah. I mean, we do have. So I'm still. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. That's fine. But like as the criteria that I mentioned, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, John. Yeah, there's like technology and completion part. Like as you see, it's like almost like half of what's being judged. So it's just like at least like we know that you won't have a lot of time to submit your project, but at least just having something live, a demo where we can try it out ourselves. That's like an easy way to just score full points on it, and it like uh, adds a lot in terms of like judging. And then yeah, just the technology, make sure that you just like use the features um, that we make available for you. So one of them is definitely like flow forte actions. So with the DeFi actions, like implementing those, they don't have to work perfectly. Like you can still get full points for that. But like implementing something that's cutting edge is usually something that works really well. I have been doing a bunch of like ETH global hackathons, and yeah, now like with yeah, so basically what I see is that the projects that tend to stick out is like the ones that chooses to implement the cutting edge. Um, yeah, so that's my recommendation there. And of course, like for maybe like if you want to focus on something that's consumer, whether it's consumer DeFi or like just like games or social apps, like think a lot about the user experience. Like how can you make this neat, right? How can you make this app delightful for people? Whether you implement like a credit card payments, like on ramps, or something else that abstracts away the blockchain, like all those things they work. So I would also recommend doing that.
Amazing. I really like that word, like the delightful, to have that delightful and yeah, unforgettable experience. Man, let's say like that sounds like maybe big words, but sometimes we just oversee that. Maybe it's not that the technology itself, but like to solve something really well and just one thing. Actually, yesterday the dev from Zama and the day before that the dev from Base, they were like saying the same message in different words, but focus on one thing, do it right, and then you start like to add different layers of like complexity, but do one thing, do that thing well, and don't overcomplicate the solution with different bounties and technologies that you want to include. So, well, if you do you have like any other remarks or words?
Oh yeah, I just want to say yeah, like totally. Yeah, don't overcomplicate it too much. Like just like trying to also narrow down and focus. Is a recommendation, and there are definitely yeah, just recommend like focusing on something like flow actions or something you also like good at. It's definitely worth it.
Great. Thank you for joining, like being over where you are, like almost midnight, and
Yes.
for to be awake till that late. We really appreciate that. And well, thank you. And let's keep the conversation online, and all the links and everything you guys need, we will share that on our group and via email. Thank you so much for joining on this workshop, and let's keep it building. Bye
Yes.
bye.
Bye.